So let's go wander to the milking parlor really quick, and then the Jesus house, and then we gotta get our to the dinner table.
Hi everybody. This is the Brooklyn Knitfolk in the Wild series. Brooklyn Knitfolk in the Wild is a series of short vlogs where I talk to you about a particular subject or something that's happening, goings-ons in New York City. It's not always fiber related, although this one is going to be. And yeah, I just kind of share snippets of my life with you, which is why I decided to kind of film this little intro in my room. Just, you know, a little more intimate one-on-one conversation. I'm sitting on my most prized possession project I've ever done. This is my 2-inch square quilt, and I've shown it on previous episodes, early episodes of the podcast. I want to say it was like the second or third, maybe both episodes, but yeah. Anyway, so this is a vlog about the Washington County Farm and Fiber Tour, organized by Sarah of the Yarns at Yin-Hoo podcast. She's Sarah Pomegranate on all social medias, and her podcast is my absolute #1 fave, like without a doubt. I listen to every single episode. It's an audio podcast that you can find for free on iTunes, and also listen through her website. So Sarah organized this Farm and Fiber Tour getaway for 2016. She did it last year, although I'm not sure if it was on the same scale as it was this year or not. But, oh, kitty. This is Jafar. He's a total sweetheart. He doesn't live up to his name at all. Anyway, the Farm and Fiber Tour is in Washington County, and it was a very economical, low-budget option for those of us who really wanted to go but maybe can't afford some of the more expensive ones. And we stayed in some lodging on St. Mary's on the Hill, which is within the confines of a convent of the St. Mary's nuns that run the St. Mary's on the Hill farm that has cashmere baby goats. They're so cute. The lodgings were great. I stayed with my new friend, Jenny, who is Salmon Knits on Instagram and Ravelry. Jenny was kind enough to offer me a ride up to Washington County so that I didn't have to rent a car. So thank you again so much, Jenny, and thank you, Sarah, for organizing that little get-together. We started on Friday. We left Friday morning around 11, and kind of just drove up, meandered up our way. It was really nice. We listened to some really great music along the way, great or terrible depending on how you look at it. Music is so personal anyway, so it's hard to kind of give reviews of music, but we listened to light rock / soft rock. There was Phil Collins, there was Madonna, there was Tears for Fears. There was a lot. It was fun. Lots of laughs along the way. When we got there, we were immediately greeted by Sarah at the lodge, and we were, I don't know, probably like midway through the arrival of the total amount of people. I think there were 20 people in all who joined. And we walked in, set our stuff down, and immediately were told to get this little souvenir from Sarah. It has a progress keeper / stitch marker on it, and a little name tag where we could write our Ravelry names, a little lavender sachet, a mini skein that has a little "I can heal myself on all levels." They all had different things written on the backs of her Yarns at Yin-Hoo card. A Yarns at Yin-Hoo pin. Sorry, you can't see these up close because I'm not super close to the camera, but you get the idea. A Knit Local sticker. And this cute little sheep or lamb, I guess, little cardboard thing that has a hole in the top so I can maybe make a Christmas ornament out of it or something. I don't know. This is my other cat, Mika. She's probably the heir of Slytherin to other people, but not to me. So we were greeted with this, and then we were told to go pick out a project bag handmade by Fernanda of Made by Fee. She's Made by Fee on Instagram and on Ravelry, but I'm not sure if she has an Etsy shop. But she was so kind and made a bag for everybody who was attending the tour. I felt kind of like, oh, I should have done something like that, like made something for everybody. But thank you so much, Fernanda, if you're watching this. This was so sweet, and I love it, and I'm already using it. They had different fabrics for everyone. and I picked out this pink one with cats on it for obvious reasons. So this was on the swap table where we brought stuff to swap that we just kind of wanted to de-stash to other people and give new homes. I brought tons of stuff to leave on the swap table, and it was all gone by the time we left, so that was really great. And this was something I got from the swap table. Super, super special, as I later figured out because I learned how to spin on a spindle for the first time this weekend. So I now know how difficult it is to spin fiber. So this is hand spun by Lisa, who is Saratoga Knitting, and she has the Ichigo Abroad podcast on YouTube. And she hand spun the blue fiber and then plied it with some commercial yarn, some white commercial yarn. But I just couldn't believe she had several of these like skeins of hand spun on the table up for grabs from the swap table, and I was just like really excited to have this. So I'm pretty sure it's going to be a hat. I haven't fully decided yet, but at least a hat out of this, but I really, really love it. Really cool. So thank you, Lisa, for bringing this beautiful hand spun. And then I'll talk about some of my other acquisitions that I got in a second on the tour, but on the first night we had a chili dinner. Sarah made it, and we all kind of contributed different things to the dinner. Me being me, I volunteered to bring wine, and I also brought cream cheese salsa, which didn't end up being made because we had so much extra food. So I guess that's a good thing to know for next year, is that we can probably eat off of that for the second day's dinner. The whole getaway was from Friday until Sunday during lunch, and then we all left after lunch. So Friday night we had the dinner and got to kind of like mingle and meet everybody and, you know, wear some of our, you know, new finished objects and knit at the same time. Like, everybody just expressed how crazy it was, how we just immediately felt comfortable with one another, and it was so true. Sarah gave a speech at the beginning of the, oh sorry, my cats are going crazy with something over there, so if you can hear that, sorry about that. But Sarah kind of gave this little speech at the beginning, like right before dinner, about how, like, yes, all the farms would be really cool and all these, you know, acquisitions and, you know, things that we could buy would be really neat, but the real treasure of this were going to be the people in the room, and how every woman that was in that room had something unique and special to offer, and to really take the time to get to know one another, because you'll be so surprised at what you find out. And that could not have been more true for me. I think my favorite thing about this getaway, and probably what the biggest takeaway I took from it, was that I don't know people just by looking at them or a short conversation, which sounds obvious, but I think so many of us, and I include myself as the number one, and we just kind of judge before we know people, and just the level of depth that every person has to offer, especially at this tour, maybe not every single person in the whole world, but the level of talent in that room was stunning. Just like Mary Beth, for example, she's hiked almost the entire Appalachian Trail, and she's finishing up the rest of it soon. And she's going on a trip with her husband to go hiking in Spain. Like, that's just one thing out of many of like these crazy talents that people have. Like Lisa, like a completely prolific spinner. I'm just like in shock in awe of her abilities. People who, you know, worked around horses their whole life and have these, you know, these skills. It's just mind-blowing, like, what people's backgrounds are. And so it was just really cool to get to know these people. And Jenny especially, huge shout out to Jenny for lending, you know, the seat in your rental car to me, and for sharing the laughs, and just like imparting the knowledge and wisdom. I actually brought a cabled project with me, the Hetty Shawl by Isolde T, because I've knit a cable once before on the Doodler, but nothing like this. And so I brought it with me because I knew and rightly assumed that everybody there would be like willing to help or show me how to do it. So that was just really cool. So we had the dinner on Friday night, and then after that I taught the color theory class. So we could sign up or, you know, volunteer to teach little mini classes. And there were 3 mini classes in total for people who volunteered. I volunteered to teach a color theory class because I've had all of the content ready to do this on my own podcast. I just haven't done it yet because I'm not exactly sure how to go about making this video. I don't want to just sit here and like point out everything on the color wheel because I think that'd be boring for you, and I'd have to show you different combinations. It's going to require more work than what I can just do with like pointing at a color wheel. So for my mini class, I designed this little color wheel, blank color wheel, but it's labeled, and it has a cheat sheet on the back with the different things I was going to go over. And I had them color in the color wheel as I explained different things about it. So I explained like what complementary colors are and what analogous colors are and split complementary and why cool colors are cool colors and why warm colors are warm colors and what makes something high contrast versus low contrast, all just by using this color wheel. And I think that it was really helpful. People kept bringing it up the entire weekend, so I hope that it was useful to them. I have to admit, I was so nervous when I was preparing to teach it and like right before, but once we got started, it was totally fine. I don't know what I was worried about, but I taught a color theory class. Sarah taught a very informal, like I said, a spinning on a spindle class, and then we also had a class that was teaching us how to make a stuffed bunny out of a knitted square, and I don't have that right here, but I'll insert a picture of it or something right here to show you. But yeah, so those were the classes that we had, and then Saturday we spent all day going to the different farms. So there were 15 in total. Over the course of Saturday and Sunday, Jenny and I kind of like stuck together to go to these because she'd already been the year before, so I could kind of benefit from her knowledge of which ones we should go to. And we went to 7 in total. So I feel really good about that. Yeah, we weren't in any rush. Just like, I have to say I was really surprised by how not pet-like sheep are. They're not like cats and dogs where, you know, you call to them and they like come over to you. It's not, I mean, you can, some of them are. I guess it just depends on how they were raised. So some of the animals that were bottle fed growing up, you can tell that they're not at all fearful or reluctant to be around people compared to others that may not have been. So that was surprising to me. And I also did find that goats were much more social and friendly than sheep were. They were so funny though and so cute, and there were so many babies. It was lambing season because they're all being born. Literally at the last one that we went to, I'm blanking on the name right now of it, and it's where we had the Dancing Ewe. A lamb had been born 30 minutes before he gave us a tour, and another one was being born within that same hour while we were having lunch. So it was just like crazy how all these babies are being born, and it was just magical. You'll see in the video, I'll show tons of clips of the scenery. It was very bucolic and open air and space, like you felt like you could breathe, and it was just all this green, and it was, yeah, it was beautiful. I guess what you would expect from upstate New York. So I'll go over some of my purchases really quick. I got this at the Batten Kill Fiber carding and spinning mill, which we got a tour of. That was really cool. So they showed us from fleece to this, what goes into making the yarn. This is not exactly a mystery skein, but it's 60% merino, 40% Romney. And it is, yeah, quite soft and squishy. That's another cool thing that this Farm and Fiber tour introduced me to was, I'm a fairly new knitter. I've only been knitting since the end of last summer. And almost everything that you find in, you know, stores is merino wool, but seeing all these different sheep breeds really exposed me to all these different things that I didn't know. So like what Romney wool feels like, what Cormo feels like, blue-faced Leicester, and you know, all these different sheep breeds. So that was really neat for me to get to experience firsthand, and I have such an appreciation now for more rustic wool. I won't say I like it better. I think it's just on a project-to-project basis, but I used to kind of shy away from it because it wasn't like as soft as merino, but it turns out that Cormo definitely is, and it's just, oh man. Yeah, so it was just really cool to get to learn about all these different sheep breeds I didn't know about before. So That's from Bat and Kill Fiber Mill. This was a purchase from Foster Sheep Farm. I got it to use I was shopping for a particular project. I'm making the beach tank by Jess Skriebstein. She's the Kitchen Witch on Instagram, and she designed a tank top called the beach tank. But I recently found out that the fiber content in this is not going to work as I thought it would, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this now, but it was on sale, so it wasn't not much of a loss. But my number one favorite purchase. So as I mentioned, we were staying at St. Mary's on the Hill, and it's a convent, and the nuns spin. And Mother Superior's favorite yarn to spin was Cormo from Ensign Farm, which is where she buys her fleeces. I felt this, and it's just like, it's similar to merino, but different in that it's almost like a velvety texture. It's much more dense, and it has definitely more of a halo to it than merino does. Excuse me. So on the first day, I bought a lot of it, but then on the last day, I was like, I need more. So I bought it all. Whatever was left, I had. I'm not sure how much is there to begin with, but I have almost 900 yards of worsted / bulky weight hand-spun Cormo, spun by Mother Superior of St. Mary's on the Hill. It's a 2-ply Cormo. I'm so thrilled. This is just such a special purchase. I already am pretty sure I'm going to make the Umaro by Jared Flood, but I'm going to turn it into a wrap instead of a blanket. But I'm just so thrilled. So thrilled. So Saturday, we went to all the farms. On Saturday night, we had dinner at a Mexican restaurant, which I was very underwhelmed with, I have to admit, but the company was good, so that was great. And then Saturday, we toured a couple more farms and then had lunch at the Dancing U, which was a delicious, delicious lunch. So I just want to say a big thank you to everybody who came, because I just learned so much from you, and you're all such wonderful and talented people. I am a better person from meeting you, and thank you especially to Sarah, who again is the host of the Yarns at Yinhu podcast, and to Jenny, who is Salmon Knits on Instagram. I'm just really glad that I know you. So here's the clips from the video, hope you enjoy, and I will see you in the next Brooklyn Knitfolk in the Wild video. Bye! Mwah. You wanna say bye? Yeah? The big baby.
Well, not the city, but the state.
This is true.
Very far from the city this way.
Bye, New York City!
Yeah, that's right.
I'm voting. You see that black one? That little black one? That's itchy. That's mine. Oh, she's got much itches.
He sounds like such a dude.
Yeah, one of them is. I attempt to take pictures of like vistas with my iPhone. Come here, babies.
Nap time for all the lambs.
Yeah, I can see it. They're sleepy. When were they born?
2 weeks to just had 2 yesterday.
Okay.
They're mostly about 10 days old, 10 days, 12 days old, but we do have a couple, 3 that are 2 weeks old.
Around the edges, that's why it's called a security tape. That's why you pull in like the sheet sweat tags and all that. Pulling all that off.
So let's go wander to the milking parlor really quick, and then the Jesus house, and then we gotta get our to the dinner table.
My brother's stepson's name is Anna.